We're back in the 90s for another top 10 list. And guys and girls, dudes and dudettes, I gotta say, this is probably our most controversial list yet.
I would say that this is the year that we actually feel like the 90s. That really, the other lists, it's very 90s, but this is the list where you're like, yep, that's the 90s right there.
Yep. Every year we do it, I catalog all the movies I've seen. I've seen almost 100 movies from the year 1994.
My goodness. I think I had 30.
I didn't count. I don't have time for that kind of.
I'm a true 90s kid. I've watched every single movie under the sun.
Is that what makes you a 90s kid? So when if a Gen Z did that, they would be considered a 90s kid?
Yeah, in the fine print at the bottom of the BuzzFeed articles, it says you have to consume all media from the 90s to be considered a 90s kid.
It's a lot of bad content.
A lot of great sports superstars came from the 90s, so.
That's true.
Yeah.
Ooh, yeah.
Got Tiger Woods, Michael Jordan.
Jeff Gordon.
Nope. We have a tie. And you guys are thinking whoa, this is probably going to be all the Jim Carrey movies, right? No, you're wrong. Because that's Ed Wood and Forrest Gump.
Boo. Boo.
What a strange tie.
I don't understand why you couldn't just bump Forrest Gump off the list. We've talked about Forrest Gump. We don't even talk about
Forrest Gump is sentimental, and it's like diabetes in a movie. It's just so sweet.
I don't get that reference.
That actually, I think that's perfect, Zach. Yeah, you're right. It's like
it's an awful disease.
You said it. You said it.
Ed Wood's like the best movie about movies. That's like in the style of an Ed Wood movie. It's great. Forrest Gump, it's fine.
This is going to tick off a lot of people, but number 9, we have Shawshank Redemption. And yes, it's that low because it's kind of boring, but it's still good.
Thank you. Another movie that I would not have put on this list. It's not a bad movie. Just like, Forrest Gump, not a bad movie. Overrated. You watch it once, and then you don't need to watch it again, and then AMC insists on playing it once a week, for some reason. It's their Harry Potter franchise.
Isn't it at the top of IMDb too, the user ratings? It's such a great movie. It's a movie you put on. Sure, it's kind of boring and a little slow, and especially because Morgan Freeman's narrating it, and he can put me to sleep. But it's a great story.
Hey, I need you to compare Shawshank Redemption to a terminal illness.
This one is narcolepsy.
None of you guys put it on the list, but it's a very, very, very indie movie. It's Chungking Express, directed by Wong Kar-wai. It's like Wes Anderson before Wes Anderson ever existed. It doesn't have the framing that Wes Anderson does, but it's a very twee sort of thing, but at the same time very sad and depressing. But also you feel the cinematography is real beautiful. Basically, just go through Wong Kar-wai's whole filmography. You'll be fine. You'll just come out maybe happy, maybe sad. Who knows? And we're going for Wes Craven's New Nightmare.
Without this, there's no Scream in a few years. This is it's a weird. It's meta. It's Wes Craven in the 90s. He goes from the 70s and in the 80s, and then he just was he's still got it. He's still killing it.
It's all of the Jim Carrey movies. It's Ace Ventura, Pet Detective, it's Dumb and Dumber, and it's The Mask.
He just came out of nowhere and exploded with these classic movies that we still watch. I grew up on Ace Ventura. I'm sure every person has their favorite Jim Carrey movie, and probably one of them's these movies.
Probably Ace Ventura, but I know there's a lot of Dumb and Dumber fans that are hardcore Dumb and Dumber. Oh yeah,
you can't top Dumb and Dumber for me.
Yeah, I don't know. It's just I think more kid me is Ace Ventura for sure. And The Mask is still so good too. The Mask is he gets to do so much because it's cartoony and goofy and fun.
It shows off his really over the top side.
Number 5 is our first documentary to make any of our top 10 lists so far, and that's Hoop Dreams. Top 5 documentaries ever, easily. I just want to put up Roger Ebert's review. I know that's you couldn't do that, but I might have to put a link in the description or something because he perfectly describes what's so great about Hoop Dreams. Number 4, we have True Lies.
James Cameron did James Cameron stuff, and James Cameroned it.
And it's fun. It's got Bill Paxton's in this movie.
That's very 90s.
I mean,
I feel like you say that every time Bill Paxton's in a movie.
Bill Paxton for me is for a movie. Bill Paxton. Every time Bill Paxton shows up in a movie, it's just a little bit better thanks to Bill Paxton.
It's true.
R.I.P. But I mean, you got Arnie, you got Jamie Lee Curtis. Like, it's not like The Matrix. It's just a movie that you can just like zone into, and you're like, man, this is a lot of fun. It reminds me of like Sunday afternoons on TV. You know, when you turn something on TV. It's peak Arnie. It's peak James. Well, I'm on a first name basis with both.
Yeah.
Of course, yeah.
There are no true lies about True Lies.
Unless you say it's bad.
Only fake.
Wait.
I don't know.
All right, so imagine this. Close your eyes. I don't need to close my eyes, but I'll do it anyways. You're a 9-year-old kid. Your birthday is in 4 days. And your dad, who is a single dad to 3 sons, just doing his thing, and he loves vampires. And he is like, he's got a 4-year-old, a 9-year-old, and a 11-year-old. And he's like, you know what? I want to go watch this new vampire movie. So I'm going to take all of my kids to the rated R movie, Interview with the Vampire, and it has blood and guts and nudity and all kinds of weird stuff that kids our age should not be seeing. And you know what? That 9-year-old self loved this movie. And I, of course, am talking about Interview with the Vampire. And now you may open up your eyes.
Whoa, you took us on a journey there.
That was an experience.
Yeah, it was terrible.
I love that you love this movie. I enjoy this movie. I really like this movie. I need to go revisit it. Can I just say though, Tom Cruise, Brad Pitt, Antonio Banderas, Christian Slater.
Having a dad that was into vampire movies, there's no way I couldn't not like vampire movies.
And it's, you know, this is a high class vampire movie. It's like a sweeping epic that it's good. I'm gonna rewatch it.
You'll be surprised, but not surprised, but it makes sense why it's number 2, is we have Lion King.
If you're placing like all the classic Disney movies, this is like probably near the top, where it stands the test of time. Everyone loves The Lion King. Everyone has the soundtrack. The video game was super hard.
The video game was super hard. I'm glad you brought that up.
I never beat it personally.
I never got past the first level. Granted, I was 5, but still, like that thing's hard.
And it catapulted Disney into the mega conglomerate it is now. I mean, it already was before, but it's like pre-Lion King and post-Lion King is how you look at Disney history.
Yeah.
Like Mickey Mouse, I guess, is cool, whatever. You've ruined copyright laws, whatever. But it's pre and post-Lion King.
Yeah.
You can't convince me otherwise.
Like you said, the soundtrack, the voice cast, Matthew Broderick, JTT, the most 90s voice you can get. I think, too, this is a movie that personal story, not as long as Michael's flashback, but this is a movie that my parents and my grandparents almost, they don't hate it, but I watch this movie over and over and over and over. I mean, just like it would stop and we'd be like, all right, time to rewind and let's watch it again. And so I love this movie, but I know also, I'm sure there are parents out there who hate this movie. Yeah. That's a sign of a great movie.
It is the film white boy's dream movie.
We'll see it on every college room wall.
No, it wasn't. That's Reservoir Dogs and Scarface, but it's close. It's high up there. I think I may still have it.
We're of course talking about Pulp Fiction, Quentin Tarantino's sophomore movie, and it just built off of what Reservoir Dogs did and just did it even more and better. The nonlinear storytelling, John Travolta comeback, Samuel L. Jackson, Tim Roth,
Uma Thurman,
Bruce, when he still gave a crap?
Yeah.
Come on.
He tries in this movie, and he tries really well.
Steve Buscemi as a waiter. I mean, you could go on and on. Ving Rhames with a weird Band-Aid on the back of his head, but you don't know why it's there.
Pulp Fiction is a film class movie where you're like, this is non-linear storytelling. This is a MacGuffin. This is just like,
Yeah.
this
This
is like
changed screenwriting too. Like
Yeah.
the way people talk in this movie, every single movie tried to copy, and some did okay. Guy Ritchie is the biggest version of this, where he just took that and made it worse.
It just changed cinema for a long
Did.
time. Took a while for us to recover.
good and bad.
Yeah. 1995 is going to be a weird list.
And
Is
here's
it-
here's
Oh.
number one right here.
Uh,
Boom. That's
of
number one
course.
right there.
It was weird how much people talk about hackers on Twitter. I constantly see people doing like threads about hackers.
Oh,
Really?
I love hackers.
Un esercito di prole